Happy Monday and welcome to another episode of WBAG's Off the Bench, presented to you by the good folks over at Buffalo Lanes Family Entertainment in Mebane. They're located at 103 South 5th Street. And as summertime continues, if you're looking for that perfect family activity to get indoors and beat some of that summertime heat, make sure you stop in Buffalo Lanes, play in the arcade, enjoy some of their 18 state-of-the-art bowling lanes. And for the smaller members of your herd, make sure you check out the brand new duck pin lanes as well. That's 103 South 5th Street in Mebane, Buffalo Lanes. Tell them WBAG sent you. Welcome in once again. I'm your host, Vance Ballard. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to start off by saying if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment down in the comment section. It'll help us continue to grow this page here and be able to bring more content focusing on Alamance County sports and beyond to you guys. It's time to get off the bench today. We've got a very special guest joining us. Sitting down with me is head coach of the Eastern Alamance Eagles, Coach John Kirby. He gets a full offseason in this year. We talk about some of the adversity from last season, what the spring schedules look like, and what he expects from his team going forward into this summer. It's a fun conversation. You're not going to want to miss a second of it. And it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to get off the bench.
It's time to get off the bench with WBAG Sports, Alamance County's premier sports coverage since 1947.
All right, coming off the bench with us today, a very, very special guest, head coach of the Eastern Alamance Eagles. Coach, he's been coaching the Eagles as long as WBAG has been covering them, head coach John Kirby. Coach, first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. How are things going?
I was going well. Thank you for walking me through how to do this Zoom stuff here. I kind of reminds me of COVID. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I appreciate you walking me through it. But everything is good. We are all excited about football at Eastern Alamance High School, and we want to get this thing up and going.
Yep, and that's exactly what we're waiting for. We're excited about it here at WBAG as well. Now, talking a little bit about last year, kind of. Coach, you were called out of retirement last year, a little bit late into the summer, kind of had to throw everything together at the last minute. Bit of a coaching question. What lessons did you learn about overcoming your own adversity there that you can take and use as a message for your players this season now that you get a full off season and kind of back a little more accustomed to what you've been used to coaching wise?
You know, I think stepping away from the game for a year kind of gives you a little bit. I don't know if it gives you a little bit breath of fresh air, but I mean, it kind of rejuvenates you here a little bit. Not that going into each season you didn't get excited, but you know, you step away from it, and then when you get back into it, it's like, wow, here we are again. And I mean, it was a good thing. I think when I first got it, I couldn't. When you're out of it, you don't realize how much time you had put into it until you got that time. When you get back in it, it's like, wow, you know. Before I had time to do this and I had time to do that. But, you know, it's something that I think every coach, if you ask them why they do it, nobody does it for the money. They do it because they love kids and they love the game. And, you know, last year, you know, I came late, but we had a group of guys that, and Coach Mitchner, I mean, they did a lot of stuff in the off season, and they had a lot of ground that they covered. They had studied. They had changed some things of what they wanted to do from the year before. And, you know, it was not my place to come in and just say, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. We just kind of roll with what those guys had in place, which was some really good stuff. And so I had to learn on the fly. And I think that, you know, we got outstanding coaches at our school, and I think they taught me, and I kind of put my little bit of knowledge of the years on what I thought might help us. And, you know, I thought that our football team got better as the year went on. Our record wasn't what we wanted it to be, but I do think we were successful. I think that, you know, there was a lot of games that we were in that we had a chance to win, and we just couldn't finish. And I think that's one big thing that we have to learn how to do as a group is we got to have confidence in ourselves that we can win the close one. and we got to be able to finish late in the game because our schedule doesn't play us a whole lot of favors. I mean, there's some outstanding teams on our schedule, and so that is one thing that we've learned, and I think the big thing is that when you played, you didn't think you could lose,
Right.
and if you got behind by 2 or 3 scores, you knew you were still going to win, and you found a way to do it. We've got to instill that back into our players that they know that they can win at any given time.
Right. Now, you touched on it a little bit there. Your coaching, talking about your coaching staff from last year. There's been a few changes, a couple mix-ups in the coaching staff. Obviously, Coach Carl headed off to Ohio, back to his alma mater. You brought in Hunter Westbrooks to help coach with the receivers. Has there been any other changes on the coaching staff? What's that going to look like this year? How confident are you in the guys around you?
I think as a coach, you always try to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you are, and I think I've been pretty successful in doing that over the years. And you mentioned Coach Carl. What an outstanding opportunity he's got. He's going back home to Ohio to take on a program that has faltered a little bit, but he's going to rebuild it from the ground up. And I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to do great things, and it gives him an opportunity to get back home to, well, mom and dad aren't getting any younger, and so I think it's a good thing for him. Uh, Coach Nimmons was he and Coach Hester were our defensive coordinators last year. Coach Nimmons has found a spot at Averett University. He's always wanted to be a college coach, and he's got an opportunity to coach defensive ends there, and so he would be leaving us. But other than that, we feel like we got a good group coming in and coming back, and then we're adding to it. You mentioned Hunter Westbrooks. I think it's always important, if you can, to try to include guys who came through your program who have investments in Eastern Alamance High School, because those guys want to give back too, and it's I don't know, it's a little bit more personal. So Hunter is coming back. He decided that law enforcement probably wasn't what he wanted to do, and he's teaching the classes, and I think he's going to be an outstanding coach, and I think he'll be an outstanding asset to our program. Coach Pettiford was the defense coordinator last year at Western Alamance, and I told Coach I've been courting him for a long time, trying to get the opportunity to work with him or beside of him, and he's an ex-head coach at Orange High School, led the defense over at Western last year, and was able to secure him. So he looks really good in that green and gold, and I think he's going to bring a lot of knowledge to our defensive side. Coach Cook, who was the head coach at BY last year, he's joined the ranks of the Eagles as well, and he brings a lot of knowledge, a lot of I thought I knew a lot of people till we went to a clinic, and I think he's really the mayor of Mebane because he knows a whole lot of people, and
Well,
I think
that's
that's
saying
going to have
something, because everybody watching this understands what it means when you
that's
say
a
you
lot.
think you know somebody.
He knows a lot of people, and he's got a lot of experience, and I think that he's going to be a big asset to us as well. We have a few other guys that may be in the midst of coming, but we hadn't quite finalized it yet. Coach Bryant, Javante Bryant, coached with Coach Pettiford last year at Western Alamance, actually teaches at Turntime Middle School, and he's going to be helping us in the secondary for sure. And we've got 2 or 3 others, possible some old school guys that you would know or have heard of, and we just got to wait on approval, and hopefully those guys will be out there sometime during the summer, but definitely by the 1st of August to give us some help.
All right. Now, Coach, that was an illustrious group of names there, but a rather long list that you listed. How have those guys adapted to the players? How have the players adapted to them, at least through these spring workout sessions? How are those relationships coming together?
I thought our spring was good. It was I don't know. Today, the game of football and the game of high school sports has changed so much in the last just few years, and it's it used to be you would be accused of recruiting players from other schools to come and be a part of your program, and kids would we're just trying to keep our own kids, and it's like it's gotten to the point where there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of, I don't know if there's a lot of internet publicity, a lot of teams that are I mean they're loading up, and there's rumors of different kids that might be leaving. So those are worries now that you have to play or have to work with, I guess, is just trying to make sure you build relationships with your kids, to have an honest relationship with them and ensure them that you're going to do whatever you can to help them be the best possible player they can be. And I think that's been an adjustment too, because we've had lots of conversations because, like I said, it's just there's a lot of movement in athletics, not only in Alamance County, but a lot of places in North Carolina. So it's really hard. And but I thought our spring was good. We had some college coaches to come by. We got Trent Totten, who is East Carolina is a big offer for him, big D1, which he's got some other offers as well, and not slighting any of those, but it is a big time D1 offer that he's got.
We know you're a little partial to the Pirates anyway.
Well, I had my East Carolina hat on.
I think the both of us can have that bias, and it'll be all right.
Probably wouldn't be a good look, but I think that Trent's had a good spring, and JT Day picked up an offer the other day from NC State, and he doesn't realize. Well, he probably does realize he's a big old boy that's got a lot of ability, and I think the future is bright. And I think we got some other guys on our team that can play as well, and we just got to try to get them placed if football is what they want to do after high school. And a lot of people say they want to play football after high school, but when they get into it, it's a little bit more to it than they thought it was. But we do have some skilled guys at our place, and I think it's my job just to try to guide them in the right direction and let our coaches coach and just try not to mess them up.
Mm-hmm. All right, now you touched on it a little bit there. You said you thought the spring went well. We know with these spring workouts, the portion of the year, it's kind of a patchwork job because you got guys playing spring sports here. They're in the playoffs. Not every schedules aren't lining up. Not everybody can get to the workouts. But what were some takeaways you saw from the guys you did get to see? How are things looking? How are you? I know you started late last year, but do you think you may be ahead of the starting point when you came back last season at this point?
I think that our guys, because we're not changing a whole lot of anything that we did last year, and I think our guys have an understanding of what we're trying to do, and they understand what the traditions are, and that what we're going to do at the beginning of practice each day. What's the practice going to look like, and what's the expectations? I think our players know that, and I thought during the spring, a big part of the spring, in my opinion, is one, you start the year with football. Mm-hmm. If football has a great year, the school year usually goes well. Then you get to end the year with football because it's kind of the last thing that happens. And I thought that our spring was, we didn't do a lot of team stuff. We did a whole lot of fundamentals. We did a whole lot of just little technique things are going to make you better, when the rubber meets the road. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, we didn't put a big emphasis on teamwork. We put a lot of work on teamwork, but not necessarily doing a lot of putting it all together. And we did a lot of individual stuff. We did a lot of individual drills. We were able to work kids on both sides of the football, like a Tim Stokes maybe playing some offensive line, but then he got to play a little bit of defensive line. Because the one thing that is different since I've come back is our numbers aren't where they were years ago. And I think that's natural with the building of Southeast Alamance, because there's several of our kids that would have, that would have come to our place and are now there. And it's the numbers aren't just, we don't have the numbers that we had years ago. Mm-hmm. So, we are going to have to play some guys both ways. Jameis Cochran's going to have to run the ball, and then he's going to have to turn around and try to tackle the guy that's running the football. So we're going to have a few guys that are going to have to cross over. And I thought we did a good job this spring of trying to introduce a little bit of our scheme to those guys that will see both sides of the football.
Right. Now, going back to last year's team a little bit, Coach, it was a relatively young team on the field. Doesn't mean there weren't some important seniors providing production in a lot of important places. But at this early point in the season, how have some of those younger guys who now have to step into that role and fill those important senior positions, how have they taken to that leadership role over the spring? In your opinion?
And I think your better teams are when everybody's a leader. You just don't
Mhm.
have a certain amount. And you always say senior leadership. Well, I think we can expand that. I think we need team leadership. And that's one of the things that we're going to try to work on. We're going to try to work and grow together as a group to where, it doesn't matter who gets the credit. It doesn't matter who gets that tackle or who gets that touchdown. And that's easy for me to sit here and say because we're dealing with 16, 17, and 18-year-old kids, and everybody wants their share. Everybody wants to eat. Ain't that what they say? Everybody wants to eat. So, but it's I feel like that we were selfless in that we weren't selfish at all during the spring. I think that I think our kids worked hard together. I think they communicated well, and I think that we had some guys to grow bonds with each other that maybe necessarily hasn't done that in the past. We did lose some seniors on our offensive front last year, which I thought our offensive front got really, really good as the year went on. And so, we returned, and I'm getting out of what you're talking about, but we do return three running backs from last year. All three of those guys are back, and we also got Devontae at receiver, and we were able to get Hunter Eichman off the basketball court and get him back out for a little bit of catching the old football there. And there's some guys that are returning in some key spots that got a lot of valuable playing time last year. And then you throw in your two big defensive linemen with Rhett back at linebacker and Kobe Hester, and you start naming names and you leave people out. And I don't mean to do that, but there are some key people that are back that played valuable time last year. That hopefully that valuable time last year will enable them to be much better this year.
Yeah. Well, one of those positions we got to talk about it. They did have a senior moving on, and is now going to have someone step into that role. Is your quarterback position? Obviously, you've got Braxton there, who has a lot of game experience. He played as a sophomore. He played a lot of minutes last year as a junior. What has that position looked like? Is there a position battle going on in the spring? How are you guys handling the quarterback going forward into this season?
Well, I think that it was kind of a weird situation with Braxton. It seemed like because Braxton was a backup JV quarterback his sophomore year to start. And then before the year was over, he was actually the starting quarterback on the varsity team. And then last year through preseason and spring, and Zach Merkel came out and did some really good things for us. And Braxton played key moments, and in fact, our last game against Hunt was the guy, and had an outstanding game. There's a young man, EJ McKinney, who came over from Southeast Alamance, who was at Woodlawn with a lot of these guys, and he has transferred from Southeast to Eastern, and I mean he's done some good things as well. So I think that we got to be smart with what we do. I do think that Braxton's got some things that he does really well. I think EJ's got some things he does well, and our little JV quarterback from last year, Dayton Whitfield, he's gotten so much better, and I think even with the JVs this year, he'll be a lot better than what he was a year ago. So, I think the key to our success, and I think the key to our success through all the years, is that big guy that runs our weight room, Brad Warren. And I think that spending a year with him just, I mean, it does nothing but make you better because he's that kind of guy. He's a great coach. He's a great motivator, and he makes our kids better.
Right. And that goes a long way towards what we're getting ready for. You and I talked about it before we started recording. Football season's pretty much here, Coach. Monday is the day that the summer workouts can officially begin. Back to Coach Warren, like you said, what's the schedule look like for Eastern when things kick off on Monday? Are you guys going to go full jump at it, or is it more fundamental type of deal?
We're a fundamental team during the summer. We lift. Our typical summer days are going to be 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. We try to do everything early in the morning because we got kids that play baseball, they work, they do other things, and So we go from 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. We try to we lift our big guys and our skill guys separate, and so they'll get an hour in the weight room, an hour of skill development, and then a few days a week we sprinkle in some 7-on-7, and skill guys get to do that, and we got a camp schedule for the summer, but pretty much basically it's Monday through Thursday. And you talk about summer, there's 2 dead weeks in the summer, so shoot, we're almost the middle of June now, and we start up August 1st. So I mean, there's only 3 or 4 weeks, and we're back into it full tilt anyway. So, but yeah, and I think a lot of it during the summer is not necessarily gaining strength, but trying to maintain what you got or what you built up during the year. And we'll try to do some conditioning, get used to acclimated to the heat, and again, we'll go through the 7-on-7 stuff. I personally don't like 7-on-7. I don't know. I've seen kids get hurt. I don't think it's reality because you don't have those big guys in front of you. But we do it, and we're going to compete at it. But it does teach you to compete. It teaches you to. It's good for our DBs. It's good for our receivers to get timing. So we will do some of that. We do have a big event at our place, middle of July. Love for you to come. We got Danville GW coming over. We got Eastern Randolph coming over, and we've got Reidsville coming over. So 3 big schools with the Eagles, and it should be a lot of talent on that field at Fred Brady Stadium.
Yeah, that'll make for a fun night. Then I don't usually have not a lot of drop off with any of those 3 schools you named there. Pretty good football institutions throughout the state there, so that'll be fun to watch as well. From a coaching standpoint, what is the most important element of these June summer workouts? Is it the conditioning? Is it the installs? Is it the building of that team camaraderie there? What do you think is the staple piece of these summer workouts?
I think you just hit them all. I think you hit them all. And if and very seldom do you have somebody not to come, but a lot of times younger kids not sure if they're going to play or not play, and they may come and miss some of the summer stuff, but it's obvious when August 1st rolls around who's been there during the summer and who hasn't. And, a lot of these guys train on their own too. That's a big difference from years ago. Parents put money into their players. They got personal trainers. They go get trained. It's different. There's a whole lot of hands in this, and you just got to kind of try to control it. And but yeah, so I think for our part during the summer is just giving back. I mean, we want to do some stuff to give back to our school too. So we may be doing a little bit of cleanup and a little bit of mulch putting out and doing some stuff right there too to give back to our community, because I think that's a big part of high school athletics as well, is learning to play together as a team. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when you go to that class reunion, who's going to be together?
Yeah,
it's going to be those football guys.
I still text half of the football team I played with right now. Just talked to a few of them before we got on here. So
it's what it's all about. Yeah. And the stories get bigger and the lies get told the older we get. But I think that's kind of what it's all about.
We'll have won one of those state championships before too long. I'm almost at the age where that'll change.
That's right. That's exactly right. But it's good. It's people don't understand that brotherhood until they go through it. And I'm just very fortunate that I've had the opportunity to be involved with a lot of great men like yourself and others through the years.
Well, pleasure's all ours, Coach. I want to wrap things up, end on this question here. We talked about it going into last season. We've talked about it several times. The new conference is no longer the new conference, but it's all the countywide teams in the conference. Last year was the first year of that. You got a little bit of that extra oomph added to every one of those games. Now your players are more familiar with what it's going to mean week in and week out. How do you talk to them just kind of about not overexerting themselves in the beginning, because it is that long season? Like you said, there's no real breaks from August all the way through into Halloween.
Well, I think too, there's 3 seasons. There's your non-conference season, your regular season, and then the playoffs. And obviously you want to be hitting on all cylinders by the time you hit playoffs. I think what we've learned last year is that, you can falter some games. You might have to travel, but we felt like we had a good opportunity to beat Hunt High School last year. There was the number one seeded team who went on and played for a state championship. So, I mean, I think if you're hitting at that time, I think, that good things can happen to your team. We can't get too high, we can't get too low, we can't put all our eggs in one basket. But I think if we can get better each and every week, that's the objective of our football team. In years past, it seemed like we played the non-conference games would be the teams that were in the area,
Mm-hmm.
and our kids would get more hyped up because it's bragging rights when they go wherever they go now. I don't even know where they hang out now. It used to be Pizza Hut years ago, but it's kind of that bragging right deal, and so I used to say then what was the most important games was the ones that we didn't get hyped for because that was our conference games. And I think that that's something that they probably got right in that, the conference games are the most important games, and the most important games are local games. And it's like you better get excited each and every week, or you better get ready because I mean there's some outstanding teams in our area. There's some outstanding players in this area. And I think when you look and you see the amount of talent. I saw where somebody, and I think it was Coach Misner, put something out the other day, Alamance County's back. And I really believe that. I think there's some, I mean, you look at the kids at Southeast Alamance that are, I mean, they're getting some notoriety from some big places. And then you got the guys at Williams who are, I mean, they've got a possibly, they've put out a bunch of kids here lately, and they got a big time tight end right now that's getting a whole lot of attention as well. So, and I think you put them with our kids and kids down at Southern and Western, and I mean there's some outstanding talent, and the new guys at Cummins are they're good things are going to happen just because of those guys have a lot of experience there. So, it should be fun.
Yeah,
Each and every Friday night should be fun.
It certainly does set up for a very fun fall coming up. Obviously, we talked about it Monday. The official start of summer workouts here. Football season is right around the corner. So, Coach Kirby, as always, thank you so much for joining us, sitting down with me today. It's been fantastic. Looking forward to seeing the Eagles and what they got to on the field this year, and obviously covering them here at WBAG.
WBAG has been a staple for many, many years, and we very much appreciate what they do for high school sports. So thank you for continuing to do the work that those guys started years ago. Thank you.
Not a problem, Coach. Thank you.
Yes, sir.